Hello darling hearts, it's GAPS coach Emma here, Timeless Cookery. I was a doctor for 4 years. I was a doctor on a medical drama called Medics. That's me there, with short hair. And there were only 4 television channels at that time in the 1990s when it was aired. So on a Friday night, at 9 p.m. on ITV, about 9 million people tuned in to watch Dicks, as my friend Sue McCardle used to refer to it as. We were the Dicks on Medics. Marching around with white coats on with stethoscopes round our necks, spouting lines like, "The drug regime is crucial, as is getting to outpatient sessions, so I'll see you next Thursday." Putting the fear of God into people if they didn't come back to get their drugs. Do you know what I'm saying? I was drug pushing for the pharmaceutical industry, unwittingly, like a minion working for the dark side. Yeah? It's like I didn't realise it. I was an actress. I was just an actress doing my job, hitting my marks, saying my lines, finding my light, responding appropriately, repeating things, doing my job. Do you know what I mean? But actually, I was a minion, bringing awareness to the people of the land of new diagnoses like IBS. Nobody knew what that was in the early 90s, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. I remember it being one of the storylines, and there were these 2 old biddies in this storyline going, "Oh, I went on holiday and I got deli belly and I felt terrible and I was terribly farty." Oh, and it, we all thought it was hilarious, fart jokes. Now we all know about IBS. Everybody knows about IBS now, because everybody's got gut problems. And we don't have to. We just have to fix our guts using the food as the medicine, and GAPS is an excellent way to do that. So yeah, I was a doctor for 4 years. So, I admire anyone who wants to go into the healing arts, who wants to make people feel better. Believe me, I spend my whole life trying to make people feel better. And I admire anyone who says, "I'm going to do it the official route, and I'm going to study for 5 years or 7 years or whatever it is and get my medical degree, and I'm going to go and heal people." But unfortunately, I believe a lot of people are dragged into becoming a minion, working for the dark side unwittingly, like I was when I was playing a doctor. So doctor, when I took my kids to the doctor when they were little, my baby had mouth ulcers. She had all these mouth ulcers when she was a little baby, and I took her to the doctor and he went, "Oh yeah, take these pink pills in a foil wrapper." And I was like, "Yeah, but what's causing it, and why is it there?" And I wanted to work with the doctor as a partner. I wanted us to be partners to work out what the problem was and get to the root of the matter, But there just wasn't that option. I was supposed to be a good patient and sit at the other side of the desk and take the prescription and go to the pharmacy and get the medicine and do as I'm told. I wanted to, and this is what I've found ever since, for the last 20 years. Every time I have thought, "Oh, I'll go to the doctor and ask them what they think," I went to the doctor and said, "I think I might have heavy metal poisoning." And they kind of laughed in my face. I had been working with powdered pigments as a decorative artist, clouds of metal pigments and solvents all over my skin. I'm sure. And also I breathed in all the lead. When I was growing up, they had lead in the petrol when I was growing up. I was right by a road with my school, vroom, vroom, breathing in all the lead. Heavy metal, amalgams, heavy metal toxic. They just don't want to know. Anyway, I'm not anymore. So doctor, I looked it up, and in the dictionary it says a person licensed to practice medicine. Practice medicine. Okay, that's what it says in the mainstream dictionary. Now let's see what it says in the Etymology Online Dictionary. This is an amazing source of information, guys, and I highly recommend you go out there and work out all the spellings, because we are being cast with spells every day. Unwittingly, we are actually using the spellings almost against ourselves. So I look at the etymological dictionary, Etym Online, ETYM Online Dictionary, right? So if you look up doctor in the Etym Online Dictionary, it says church father, religious teacher. What's that all about? Religious teacher, yeah, and practicing. So hold on, look. Person licensed to practice medicine, that's a doctor. Church father, religious doctor. Oh yeah, so there was also the noun. That's the noun, doctor, and then the verb doctor is to doctor something. It means to alter it or disguise it for the purpose of deception, falsifying something. That's interesting. You could use the word to doctor something. It means to like change it a little bit so you can't really tell, and then you go, yeah, we'll just doctor it, it'll be all right. You know, they won't even notice, you know. So that's interesting. Medicine, looked up that in the Etymon Dictionary, and it says a substance used in the treatment of disease, a potion, a plaster, or a remedy. Fair enough. And then it says take one's medicine as a phrase, which means to submit to something disagreeable. That's interesting. Right. And then to practice, so practicing medicine, as a doctor, you're practicing medicine. It means to follow. To practice means to follow or employ a course of action. To do, to perform, to carry on a profession. Hold on, I remember a whole load of films. There was a whole series of films called Carry On Dancing, Carry On Camping, Carry On. Do you remember those back in the day in the 1960s? It was right old Carry On. Anyway, to carry on a profession. To perform repeatedly or habitually with the object of acquiring a skill. That means to practice medicine. Perform repeatedly or habitually with the object of acquiring a skill. Or like knitting or skateboarding. Just practice it regularly till you acquire the skill. So doctors train for 5 years or 7 years or whatever it is to acquire a skill. I remember sitting next to this couple of beautiful young people who had were just about to graduate as doctors, and they said, I sat next to them at this dinner. It was a really posh dinner. It was a fundraiser at a local school where I live, and there were like 7 courses. We were very spoiled. We ate it all up, and I felt so sick. In fact, I think I was sick after that meal. Anyway, I was speaking to these 2 doctors, and I said, how many weeks did you study nutrition to qualify, you know? And they said, probably about 2 weeks, probably, in all those 5 years or 7 years, when nutrition is the key to our health, wealth and happiness. I was like, geez. Anyway, I've been a doctor. I know what it's like. I know what kind of lines they spout. And also, I followed a houseman. I went to hang out with a houseman when I was training, when I was preparing for my role as a doctor, darling. I went to hang out with this houseman, and they gave me a white coat and asked the patients, was it okay if she observes, and la 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 la. And this houseman showed me the little hole, the little hovel where he retreated to for his, stolen hours of kip before his bleeper went off for his next call. And he had maybe his 14 or 16-hour days. He was exhausted. He was absolutely exhausted, in a nice malleable state, so that the pharmaceutical companies can come in there and tell you which drugs to use. It's all messed up. And these doctors practicing medicine are, I'm sure that a lot of them have got a really good heart and they want to help people and be in the right, do the right thing. I don't doubt that for a minute. But are they minions in sort of the employ of literally the dark forces? I don't know how else to put it. It sounds outrageous, doesn't it? But when you go and look up stuff like Skull and Bones, go and look it up. It's a fraternity from Yale University with some alumni, like the Bushes, George Bush George Bush Senior and Junior, they were in there, and there's loads of them in there. And if you track them back to the 1860s, 1870s, they've all held prominent positions in massive institutions and universities and the sciences and all of these, they've patted each other on the back and rubbed each other down with oily rags. I don't know. They're all in each other's pockets. It's all nepotism. It's the old boys network, one of the many. And most of these institutions where people are supposed to be learning about the healing arts, you don't learn jack shit. It's a reductionist, myopic view of healing, trying to identify tiny bugs, when actually, I've already had this conversation with you guys, we are bugs, you are bugs, you're made of bugs. You're all over, they're all over you, all over your skin or inside you, they're everywhere. You're made of them. You're outnumbered 10 to 1 on a cellular level by bacteria and fungus in your body, right? Your human frame on a DNA level is only about 10% human. The rest of it is all the other bugs that we live with in symbiosis. We live with them like an ecosystem, a beautiful universe that is you. You know, you're truly unique. There is no one like you. They couldn't even begin to work out all the different, how everything works together. We can't even begin to work it out. We're so complicated. You know, the transhuman agenda will never succeed because they could never reach this level of complexity. Do you know what I mean? You can try, Klaus Schwab. You'll never succeed. Anyway, yeah, I was a doctor. I know all about it. I don't know anything. I don't pretend to know anything except the food is the medicine in my book. And when we eat right, our gut feels good. And I have to say, the last couple of days, I didn't get any live food down me. I didn't have any kefir. I usually have kefir every day, milk kefir. And I didn't have any the last couple of days because it's been very hot and my last batch went really super sour. And usually I mix that in with some coconut flour or some almond meal and make a kind of paste to make a pastry to then bake Gap's baked bread or muffins or something like that. But I didn't get round to it. Anyway, I didn't have my kefir. What I'm saying is I didn't have my live foods to kind of stimulate my digestion. And when I don't have my live foods, I feel really lackluster. I feel lacking. I don't feel as though I'm really myself. And who eats fermented foods every day out there? Who eats fermented foods? Anyone? Hands up who eats fermented foods every day. You need to eat. This is how we've evolved. We evolved with fermented foods. There was no fridge way back when. We've fermented our dairy and fermented our vegetables to make them last. How did they go on those long voyages over the oceans without barrels of sauerkraut and salted vegetables to keep them going? You know, we need to be doing this all the time. If you don't know how to do it, it's really, really easy. Come and learn at Timeless Cookery Club. Hang out with people like-minded who are going to support you on your journey to work out the spells and the spell etymology, as Paul Knight calls it on What the Flock TV. I highly recommend that as an entertainment. Go and read the Etym Online Dictionary. And if you're ever thinking, oh, I wonder about such a thing, go and check it out. Go and have a look on the Etym Online Dictionary. It is fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. We don't need to succumb to the spells. When we see them, we can see through them. And then we can say, I withdraw my consent to anything you think I might have given my consent to. Okay? And then you claim sovereignty, and then you claim your health and your wealth and your happiness. So see me at timelesscookery.com. And if you're free this summer, come to Normandy. Some people have been saying they want to come, but then they chicken out at the last minute because they're a bit concerned about border control. But we don't need to worry about that. We need to just stand forth and take a step into the wondrous world of Gaps with me, Gaps Coach Emma. Okay, darling hearts, see me at timelesscookery.com, and I love you so. Breathe deep and eat well, and lots of love. Bye.